Becsland. Beware of the troll who offers flattery with one hand and a script for silence with the other. Prologue. The Champagne Trap, in which free bubbles prove ruinously expensive. The invitation arrived on the back of a seagull, who looked as though he'd seen too many hen parties. "Ladies' night," it proclaimed in lipstick red ink. "Relax, recharge, rejoice. Unlimited champagne and oysters at our exclusive beach bar." There were two important details our heroines overlooked. Nowhere on the flyer did it name the bar. The seagull winked. Lumia and Jet, princesses of the sunny queendom of "totally fine, thanks for asking," packed their cutest swimsuits and hit the sand. The bar glimmered like the inside of a Prosecco bottle. A discreet sign read, "Women only, because you deserve it." Inside, everything was rose gold and suspiciously perfect, the way Instagram adverts for Miracle Mascara are perfect. A bartender, who resembled a bearded pirate, but with better dental care, handed them flutes of champagne already fizzing with something darker than bubbles. They sipped, sighed, and because fairy tale physics waits for no woman, felt the potion bloom behind their eyes. For 7 sun-kissed days the princesses lounged, laughed, and revealed every last secret desire. "I just want someone who sees the real me," Lumia cooed. "And who can change a tyre and a nappy," Jet confided. Unbeknownst to them, 3 trolls hunched behind the bar scribbling notes like shady market researchers preparing for their detour into Knobbingdom. Chapter 1. The Sugar-Coated Snare, where free refills of flattery prove more potent than potion. The morning after the 7-day champagne haze, Lumia and Jet awoke to find the beach bar replaced by a tastefully rustic cabana festooned with string lights. 3 impeccably groomed strangers waited beneath its raffia roof, each wearing a kind of smile you'd normally find airbrushed onto dating app adverts. They were, though the princesses did not know it yet, Roger, Dick, and the Troll King in their courtship camouflage. The potion still shimmered in Lumia's and Jet's veins, blurring red flags into rose petals. "Good morning, sunshine," purred the tallest one, later revealed as the king. He pressed a recycled glass tumbler of coconut water into Jet's hand. "Hydrate, beautiful. You deserve to feel your best." Jet's heart did a small cartwheel. He cares about my electrolytes. "We were worried you'd be cold," added the shortest troll, Roger, fashioning concern. He draped a blanket over Lumia's shoulders. "I'm a good guy, good to people, and no matter what, I'd always look after you. You'll be safe with me." Lumia's knees turned to hummus. Love bombing rule number 1. Mirroring. To win someone fast, become their reflection faster. So when the princesses spoke of art and culture, Roger waxed lyrical about abstract pottery. Totally into glazes right now, so grounding. When Jet mentioned she could deadlift a pony, Dick flexed imaginary biceps and announced he was training for the Royal Fun Run. All for charity, of course. Lumia admitted a lifelong wish to backpack the archipelagos. Cue the Troll King unfurling a mental bucket list that just happened to match hers, island for island. They nodded, listened intently, repeated back every detail with an earnest furrow of brow. "You love street jazz? Stop it. Street jazz is my absolute favourite." The potion made truth feel liquid, flattery congealed into fact. Love bombing rule number 2. Future faking. Paint tomorrow so vividly the listener forgets to inspect today. By noon, the trolls had built, entirely out of driftwood and dramatics, a verbal castle in the clouds. "Picture it," the king breathed. A cottage on the cliff, herb garden outside, kids chasing spaniels, Sunday roast aromas. I'll hang your paintings in the hallway. Fill the shelves with your travel journals. Jet clutched Lumia's hand, eyes misty. Kids, journals, spaniels? Every checkbox their hearts want doodled in the margins of diaries now recited back to them like sacred scripture. Dick produced a compass pendant on a leather thong. A token, he said, because wherever you wander, your true north will always be us. Love bombing rule number 3. Tokenization. Small gifts, grand symbolism. The princesses, who'd never been swayed by diamonds or declarations of abs, felt their souls pirouette. Looks hadn't mattered. Sincerity did, and these men wore sincerity like bespoke armour. That night, call it hour 15 of Operation Charm Offensive, the trolls invited them to a moonlit barbecue. Vegan options, obviously, because they knew the princesses' values. Between grilled mango and acoustic guitar covers of empowering ballads, Lumia's phone pinged every 12 minutes. Troll King. Just checking your comfy, princess. Roger. Thinking about that story you told me about your grandma's quilt. Beautiful. Dick. Can't wait to meet your family. They'll love me. Saturation contact. Keep the dopamine drip constant so the absence of messages feels like a loss. When dawn broke pastel over the lagoon, Roger guided the princesses to a sparkling carriage. Really a repainted beer cart, but under sunrise and compliments, it glittered like Cinderella's Uber. Come to Knobbingdom, he coaxed, selling it as a boutique retreat. Your own rooms, home-cooked feasts, acres of vineyards, permanent holiday, happily ever after included. Lumia hesitated. An eyelash paused, yet the potion's undertow tugged her toward the promise. Jet thought of art studios, of children laughing under olive groves, of finally laying down the armour. Besides, the trolls had said the magic words a dozen times. Safe, protected, cherished. And hadn't they already demonstrated attentiveness, family values, even a willingness to skip leg day for charity? They climbed aboard. As the wheels crunched, seashells, the Troll King whispered, "Trust me." The phrase settled over them like a weighted blanket, comforting, heavy, hard to kick off. As beach and free will slipped behind the horizon, the potion ebbed just enough for Lumia to glimpse the trolls exchanging a glance sharp as cut glass. She blinked. The look was gone, replaced by reassuring smiles and a chorus of, "We've got you." It was almost sweet how thoroughly the princesses believed their own fairy tale. Almost. Because every seasoned storyteller knows when promises shine too brightly, it's often lacquer polished tin, and knaves who promise paradise by breakfast tend to serve consequences by dinner. Next stop, Knobbingdom, where flattery curdles and the welcome mat is booby-trapped. Chapter 2. Roses and Red Flags, where perfume masks the poison. It all appeared perfect. Dangerously movie set perfect. Beyond Knobbingdom's gates sprawled wild gardens, trimmed to look untamed, every path perfumed by blossom trees and lined with bursts of alliums and foxgloves. Somewhere in the distance, a lone gardener, definitely not a troll, kind face and flat cap muttering about mulch, fussed over a hedge shaped like a swan wearing a tiara. Rose-strewn courtyards gleamed. Gold statues of the trolls in regal stance caught the late sun, and for one sighing heartbeat, Jet thought, postcard paradise, what could possibly ruin this? At that moment, the door slammed shut, and 2 foot trolls whisked the sisters in opposite directions with the brisk courtesy of airport security. Jet's East-Wing suite was an influencer's fever dream. Velvet heart-shaped love seat, ivy-draped balcony, harpists unfurling dreamy lullabies in the corner. Troll King glided in wearing a linen shirt so white it would describe Hollywood teeth as average, and produced a picnic hamper. Surprise, my beautiful. I had the royal chef whip up lavender honey macarons because you once liked a picture of them, remember? Jet blinked. How did he know that? Not realising for 7 days under the troll's beach bar spell, the princesses had revealed every want and desire, while the trolls listened in secret and subsequently created their own sweet talk spreadsheet. Plus, he'd also studied every single picture Jet had ever posted on social media. Let's go for a walk, he offered. He led her through a rose-scented wood, with birds humming Jet's favourite songs. Petals drifted down like slow-motion confetti, and as they meandered deeper into the cherry blossom, the king slowed his stride to match Jet's, shoulders brushing hers in a way that felt choreographed and strangely proprietary. Sweetheart, he began, voice pitched to a soft confidentiality. I've been thinking about that family group chat message you mentioned, about your mother fussing about you rushing into things. A sympathetic wince. It must be exhausting forever begging for everyone's approval. Jet tilted her head. She just worries, I guess. Of course she does, but she doesn't know you like I do. He plucked a blossom from the branch above, tucked it behind her ear, and then kept the strand of her hair caught gently between his fingers like a tiny leash. Families mean well, yet they can clip our wings without noticing. They see the public version of Jet, and how important that is to their status. Princess duties, crown polishing schedule. I see the girl who belly laughs at cloud shapes and quotes constellations. He shook his head, half smile, half sigh. Your energy is rare. It's infectious. It's what draws me to you. It makes some people feel threatened and jealous. Even friends get funny when one of us starts to do better in life. A pause. I've watched it happen. Jet's brow creased. Like who? Take Lumia. Troll King's tone stayed feather soft, as if reluctant to name names. I adore your sister, truly, but remember when she rolled her eyes at your laugh? It stung you, I saw. He stepped closer, conspirational. I'm not saying she meant harm, just she's used to being your anchor. Anchors don't like it when ships set sail without them. Jet opened her mouth to defend Lumia, but he held up a palm, stopping the protest, while pretending to spare her the awkwardness of voicing it. No blame. People do what feels safe. Sunlight pierced through the trees and danced around them. What matters is you feel safe. He searched her face. Do you? Jet nodded, hesitant. Troll King's smile warmed, yet his grip on the blossom strand tightened fractionally. Good. Then let's keep this space just ours for now. Your mother, your family, they'll pick at details, demand explanations, ask why you're suddenly so happy. A soft chuckle. Happiness unsettles the chronically serious, and they like to sabotage. He tipped up her chin. Trust me, if anyone questions us, it's envy talking. When the time's right, we'll show them something undeniable. I think you could be my forever person. He gestured toward the distant sign. The girly zone. As though it were a stage set waiting for company. Until then, let's not invite their opinions into our space. Agreed? Jet swallowed, tasting both flattery and unease. She managed a small smile. Agreed, just give me a little time. Take all the time you need, he said, releasing her hair at last. I'm not going anywhere. And with that reassurance, he steered her beneath the trees towards the waiting picnic, leaving the faintest echo of doubt trailing behind them. As Jet neared the picnic area, she noticed a hand-painted sign with beautiful floral climbers twirling round it, all pastel script and glitter swirls. The girly zone. Reserved for dainty picnics, giggles and perfect selfies. Beneath it, a single willow tree bowed like a burlesque performer, leaves draped in what could only be described as the stuff rom-com dreams are made of. Cushions already ringed the blanket, macarons matched the colour palette. Even the sunbeams felt pre-approved by a stylist as they glittered through the tree leaves like an Instagram filter. Jet's heart fluttered. Lavender, honey, the whole swoon kit. Yet a niggle pinged at the back of her mind. If we only met a fortnight ago at that beach resort, how does he have a ready-made girly zone complete with branded signage? It was lovely, yes, but also an amber glow lit up inside her. It was almost as though the spot existed for any woman willing to co-star in Chalking's highlight reel. She tucked the thought away as he uncorked her favourite champagne. Confused, Jet wondered, how did he know? But equally decided perhaps this was his favourite champagne too. She angled the camera for an in-the-moment shot. Dreamy, delicious, confusing. An area built for her or for whoever happened to say yes. Flags began to wave just outside the frame, but for now Jet smiled and everything still looked perfect. Chalking tapped a stray macaron crumb off Jet's sleeve, then lowered his voice to a confidential hush. I almost forgot this is awkward, but the linen maids gossip right outside my study window. Apparently, they heard Lumia earlier today laughing that you're Princess Cling, always needing someone to hold your hand because you can't even pour a cup of tea without reading instructions first. She even mimicked your laugh, a full dramatic snort and everything. The maids were in stitches. He shook his head in gentle dismay. I told them they'd misheard your sister and clarified that my Jet is resourceful and self-reliant. But it really bothered me hearing your own sister make a joke of you. I'm not sharing to upset you, babe, only because I think you deserve honesty and someone firmly in your corner. Look, maybe share our little adventure on your feed. Show her and everyone what real happiness looks like. He held the camera. Jet, flustered, posed and captioned it, living my dream life with the sweetest company. #Crown and Cuddles. King pressed post before she could even add an emoji. There, let the world see you as I do. Across the courtyard, Lumia's north turret felt like an artist's loft fused with a stargazer's observatory, the whole space draped in midnight blue velvet, as if the night sky had slipped on a silk robe. Captain Dick floated in just after dusk, clutching star atlases scented with cinnamon, as noted in the favourite smells column of the Sweet Talk spreadsheet. Ready to tour the universe? He asked, unfolding a velvet map of constellations and draping it around her shoulders like a cape. Stars, he promised, were only the appetizer, promising when his shares in stocks hit the big time he'd whisk her off to islands of her dreams. Captain Dick was feeling super impressed with himself because Lumia had detailed a magnificent list of places she wanted to explore at the beach bar. He salivated at the thought of swaggering into tonight's bragboard briefing as the undisputed love-bombing league champion. Halfway through aligning the telescope, he sighed, appearing as a reluctant confidant. This is awkward, Lumi, but I overheard Jet talking to Troll King earlier. She said, and I quote, I love my sister, but she slows me down. I could shoot for the title of Chief Adventurer if I wasn't always babysitting her. He winced for emphasis. I really hate to see you undervalued. With perfect timing, he thumbed open Jet's latest reel. Caption blaring, finally living my dream life with the sweetest company. Dick let the video loop. Soft pity in his eyes. See? She's already rebranding on her own. Lumia swallowed the sting. Surprise more than rage. And let him guide her to the eyepiece. He narrated galaxies whilst quietly reinforcing the message. Some stars shine brighter when others step aside. By the time he pressed a warm mug of her favourite tea into her hands and wished her good night, the turret felt simultaneously perfect and lonely. Elsewhere, Jet sat in her candlelit suite replaying King's tale of Lumia's Princess Cling comments. The Dream Life reel had exploded with likes, yet each notification tasted sour. Success felt counterfeit, if earned at her sister's expense. Both girls lay awake in separate wings, hearts fluttering with something that wasn't quite butterflies, more like tiny warning moths. Jet mourned a sister who apparently found her embarrassing. Lumia nursed a bruise she hadn't seen coming, and so before sleep finally claimed them, each resolved to keep a polite distance, smiles for show, secrets for safety, because now they knew what each other really thought. Chapter 3. Smoke and Mirrors. Crisis, Control and Comic Sans. Every day and every night, the trolls' tricks continued. Letters from the kingdom of totally fine thanks for asking never arrived. Troll King's stage collapsed outside Jet's door one night, clutching his chest. "Palpitations, sweetheart. Your hug is the only medicine." Jet, flooded with empathy, ran to attend his needs. The princess's phones constantly pinged. Troll King: "Just checking your breathing, Angel. Text back, or I'll worry myself into another palpitation." When Lumia reminded Dick he'd promised the lagoon picnic, he blinked and said, "Sweetheart, that was obviously a daydream. That never happened. Remember how forgetful you are." King flashed Jet a doctored selfie of him beside 3 swooning tourists. "Offers everywhere, but I keep choosing you. Try not to make that feel like a mistake, okay?" Each dawn, Dick sent the same melodramatic plea. "Breakfast selfie, princess. Full face, no filter, toast optional. If my phone wakes up and you're not in it, I'll end up sobbing into my cereal, and the milk will taste like betrayal." Late one night, 2 o'clock struck. Lumia woke to frantic knocking. Captain Dick stood in the corridor, eyes glistening, clutching the corrupt objective lens from her treasured portable telescope, which she carried everywhere, a keepsake from her father. "I wanted to surprise you, polished it myself, but it slipped right through these stupid hands," he whispered, shaking just enough to trigger her rescue instincts. "Without your guidance, I ruin everything I touch." Guilt flooded Lumia's chest. She ushered him inside and spent the rest of the night soothing his failure, promising to help replace the lens, never noticing that the break was a classic manufactured crisis, bound her to him while further isolating her from the sister who would have seen straight through the act. The trolls dripped their tricks like poison. Incessant messages, social scrolls, sly verbal comments, hour after hour, until Jet and Lumia's thoughts whirled, their batteries blinked red, and the line between solid truth and troll-curated fiction melted into utter confusion. Troll King chuckled at Jet's loud voice. "So adorable, but maybe you should minimize to an indoor volume." Roger praised Lumia's brilliant mind, and then teased her habit of always overthinking. "Must be tiring, Each jab was tiny, a paper cut of a comment, a sugar-coated dig, yet together they had reduced their sparkle to dust. Jet scrambled in her mind to make sense of her reality and scribbled a note. "Meet me after moonrise." She slid it under Lumia's door. Roger intercepted it, delivering it to the king, who pocketed it with a smirk. "We don't want them comparing stories." The very next night, Jet lay in a gown Troll King had surprised her with. Silk, but a snugger fit than she liked. She practiced the laugh that hid the fabled snort. A thought niggled. Why am I rehearsing for someone who says he loves the real me? The same hour, Lumia sat alone in the observatory, her father's broken telescope cold in her hands. The starry sky spread flawless and mesmerizing, but her favourite star felt dimmer. On the floor below she heard the faint celestial ripple of Troll King's harpist. Jet loves harps, she remembered. Through stone walls, each sister reached the same conclusion. Any love that comes with pain and whispered secrets isn't love at all. Hidden behind Knobbingdom's velvet ropes squatted the Bragboard room, a man cave that looked like a student basement flat had mated with a gadget shop. Each night at curfew, the trolls cannonballed inside, clutching beer and pizza, and flicked on their pièce de résistance, a temperamental projector that displayed the Sweet Talk spreadsheet across one wall in wobbly 12-point Comic Sans, which everyone knows hasn't been used since the 90s. The column headers read, like a misogynist shopping list: Insecurity hot button, tearjerker trigger phase, swoony smell, e.g. wet puppies, can't say no cocktail, favourite snack, bribe, dream date destination, flattery kryptonite, haha same hobby. Rows bore the trolls' names beside each columns of garish tick marks, each tick an ego point in their nightly love-bombing league. Captain Dick barreled in first with a wink. 20 points in one sentence, boys. 20! Nailed swoony smell and dream date destination in one evening. Troll King skidded after, brandishing a novelty heart monitor. Fake palpitations, babbed me double points under tearjerker trigger. Check the board, losers. Roger waddled up last, waving a toilet plunger like a royal sceptre, while I intercepted a crucial letter, stopping the princesses from conspiring. 5 points. They whooped, high-fived, and pelted one another with marshmallows, totting up totals like the over-sugared 10-year-olds. By lights out, each was certain he'd wait-crowned most irresistible manipulator, though no one could remember who last spilled beer on the projector or why it now displayed fave snack, emotional vulnerability in bold magenta letters. Chapter 4. Code Pink Sparkle. When sisterhood glitches the system and the trolls hit refresh. Before dawn on day 5, Jet stepped onto her balcony for fresh air and glimpsed Lumia on the opposite parapet doing the same. 60 metres of courtyard flanked between them, but the moment their eyes met, an unmistakable spark flared. Suspicion, recognition, silent pledge. That morning, the trolls strutted into the breakfast hall, expecting their usual carefully choreographed vision. Jet and Lumia eating alone, flanked by foot troll chaperones, checking the princesses' phones for approved content, noting who they'd been messaging, how many messages they'd received, from whom. Instead, they found both princesses sitting together at the same table, heads bent over a bowl of strawberries, giggling at some half-remembered childhood joke. Worst offences followed in rapid succession. They made sustained eye contact. Unacceptable. They delivered a perfectly synced high five. Treasonous. Jet told a pun so bad Lumia snorted. The holy grail of genuine sister laughter. Lumia produced a hand-drawn map of the stars, and Jet said, "Let's plan an adventure," which was basically emotional arson in troll lore. Roger, King, and Dick froze mid-strut, their smiles collapsing like wet soufflés. Within seconds, Roger hissed, "Code Pink Sparkle," troll shorthand for sisters exhibiting happiness, and the trio abandoned their bacon bats to convene an emergency summit in the brag board room. The projector flickered on, the all-important spreadsheet glowing accusingly. Troll King rapped a ruler against the wall. "They're bonding. This is unacceptable. If this continues, they'll compare notes and the whole operation faceplants." Dick suggested a potion to reduce their self-esteem, but Roger, waggling the plunger of authority, announced something bolder. "We move them to the West Wing. New chaperone rota, less chance of unsanctioned giggling." King nodded, already drafting a cover story that involved carpet moths and unsightly emotional residue. 10 minutes later, the royal PA system crackled to life. "Attention all castle dwellers, please pack at once. The east and north wings are undergoing an urgent deep clean. Housekeeping thanks you for your unquestioning compliance." Roger minced out in rubber gloves and a high-vis tabard that says Facilities Legend. He waved an official-looking clipboard. Urgent housekeeping update, ladies. The east and north wings require an immediate deep clean. Something about carpet moths and unsightly emotional residue. No cause for alarm, but we simply must relocate you to the west wing until whenever. He offered no finish date. Merely a grin so wide it qualified as a threat. Before Jet and Lumia could trade more than a raised eyebrow, foot trolls materialised to hustle them down a spiral stair, luggage bouncing behind. If hell hath no fury like a woman scorned, Knobbingdom hath no Wi-Fi like a troll-run castle. Trollnet was the only connection around here, the castle's very own ego-powered intranet. The temporary entrance to the west wing was an archway of upended beer kegs, spray-painted "No nagging" in dripping block capitals. Still woozy from the shock relocation, Jet and Lumia were frog-marched through by Roger and Dick, both sporting ill-fitting football jerseys and an air of unearned self-confidence. Rule number 1, Roger belched, jangling a ring binder labelled Lessons for Ladies. Keep your phone on, fully charged. My ego needs constant validation via read receipts. Rule number 2, Dick added, scratching his belly. Engage brain before mouth, sweetheart, and remember, no one will ever love you quite like we tolerate you. The west wing itself was Gothic on the outside, IKEA on the inside. Cheap, confusing, and missing half the screws. The princesses were shown separate rooms. We wouldn't want you conspiring, sniffed the Troll King. With identical decor, grey walls, single light bulb, mirror propped on a rickety table. Jet tried to text home. No signal. The only bars around here served lager. Chapter 5. Lessons in Love, according to Beer Breath. Welcome to the banqueting hall of bad banter. No refunds. The Troll King loved a PowerPoint presentation. Every evening he summoned the princesses to the banqueting hall of bad banter, projected slides titled How to Be a Better You for Me, and lectured. Slide 1, Gratitude Drills. Repeat after me. Thank you, your trollness, for not leaving me to die alone in a ditch. Slide 2, Accountability Crunches. Everything is your fault until proven otherwise, and we burn the evidence. Slide 3, Beauty Standards. A photograph of an airbrushed nymph rodeo riding a Peloton bike. Aim for this, but eat like a sparrow on a budget. After class, the trolls played beer pong of thrones while the princesses cleaned up stale pizza crusts. Each night they went to bed a little lighter in body and much heavier in self-doubt. Lumia lay staring at the ceiling, mind racing through imaginary crime scenes where she was always a suspect. Did I sigh too loudly when he spoke? Was my tone disrespectful when I asked him to pass the salt? Her chest felt wrapped in thorny vines, each breath snagging on invisible barbs. In the next room, Jet sat curled on her mattress, feeling like a mouse in a corner with a purring cat prowling closer. Her heart drummed a frantic rhythm, while her thoughts stumbled like drunks at closing time. Why do I feel like I've committed high treason just by existing? Meanwhile, the Troll King burped approvingly in the hallway and hollered, Sleep tight, princesses. Remember, perfect girlfriends never need sleep. Lumia and Jet began tiptoeing through conversations like tightrope walkers, afraid any word might snap the line. Am I really too sensitive? They tried to calculate how much of themselves to vanish to keep the peace, but the equation never balanced. Chapter 6. The Honeyed Noose. If Prince Charming seems flawless, check for claws. Triple summons, 8:07 to 8:09. Roger. Oi, Sparkle Squad. Meet us at the moon pool. Skipping stone contest. Bring vibes. Dick. And selfies. My Instafeed is starving. Troll King. Don't be late. The caption's already drafted. Roger dealt flat black pebbles like casino chips. Dick went first and nailed a perfect 5-bounce skip. There were fireworks and praise from the trolls. Second success? Louder cheers. Lumia stepped up for her turn. The pebble belly flopped after one sad bounce. The atmosphere nosedived immediately. Single skip? The trolls laughed hysterically. Sweetheart, perhaps you'd be better off joining a children's league. Princess, maybe stick to decorative smiling? Teased the king. Jet's knuckles whitened. The taunts echoed recent messages swimming in her mind. Roger, you're a grown woman. You should know how to clean the fridge out in my beer room without having to be told. Troll King, couldn't even reverse the car. Embarrassing. Roger, meanwhile, scrolled Lumia's socials, nose wrinkling. Weird none of your besties liked that reel. Maybe they're over you? Support network sabotage, level up complete. Dick leaned in and angled Lumia beneath the lantern light. Filter'll hide the tears. Say cheese. Hashtag couples goals. Click. The picture was uploaded before Lumia's tear even dried. Jet flinched. Migraine drums hammered. Roger shoved phone at her. Caption it weekend magic with my bros. Algorithm loves positivity. And pull yourself together. Bedroom vibes, not the fun kind. It was 1:13 a.m. in the princess suite. Supper soup sat congealing on the nightstand, whilst tear tracks dried on Lumia's pillow. Her mind spun like a hamster wheel. Maybe Dick's right. Maybe I actually don't have any real friends. In the guard tower bunk, Jet scrolled through her empty DMs, a migraine pulsing behind her eyes. Maybe I really am too much. Internal memo, body and mind check. Cortisol, high. Appetite, down, Lumia. Tremors and headaches, up, Jet. Hope reserves, low, but not empty. From the opposite ends of the castle, the same thought drifted into a premature pink dawn. It's me. I'm the problem. I'm not good enough. Two exhausted heroines slipped into uneasy dreams, while Roger, Dick and the Troll King stayed up counting likes on Insta, arguing over who was Knobbingdom's true stone skipping champion, and planning tomorrow's learning exercise so the princesses might learn to be better for them. Chapter 7. The Mirror, the Mockery, and the Mote of Light. Objects in mirror may be fiercer than they appear. On Knobbingdom Day 49, also known locally as Thursday, Roger delivered new accessories. Compact mirrors bedazzled with the words, "So lucky." "Look what you've become," he chortled, leaving crumbs of kebab on the floor. Lumia glared into the glass and recoiled. Her cheeks were hollow. The sparkle in her eyes had dimmed to nightlight mode. Jet sat hunched on her mattress, arms cinched around her knees, refusing to even peek at her own reflection. The trolls clapped each other on the backs and ordered take-away smugness. But that morning, when the castle fell silent, except for distant belches, Lumia sat cross-legged before the mirror. She zeroed in on her pupils. There, a faint glimmer, like the tiniest LED, lit up her reflection. "Hello," she whispered to herself. The glimmer pulsed back. She smiled for the first time in weeks. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's not as doomed as she'd been told? In that very moment, a plan began to hatch. Chapter 8. Lumia discovers Wi-Fi within. Flamingos don't do cages. The next morning, Lumia arose, beelined for the mirror, and performed her secret ritual, Mirror Eye Spark mantra. "I am a flamingo among pigeons," she muttered. "Absurd? Yes. Effective? Also yes. Confidence is contagious. Jet noticed Lumia sitting taller at the breakfast table. As they sipped their tea, while trolls debated whether feelings were real, Lumia slipped a note under Jet's saucer. Your light isn't gone. It's just behind a cloud. Love, L. Kiss. Jet's fingers trembled. She put down her cup and thanked the trolls for joining them for breakfast and explained she needed to go and have a lie down. She ran up the stairs into her room, crept to her mirror, cracked from Roger's last tantrum, and forced herself to look. The first thing she saw was a tangled mess of hair. The second was a single stubborn spark in her iris. She burst into tears, the good, unclogging kind that comes with the realization you're not broken, merely bruised. That night, two princesses dreamed of open fields and suspiciously well-lit cul-de-sacs. Somewhere beyond Knobbingdom lay a place where no one could say, "Engage your brain, woman." A place rumoured in bedtime stories, Becsland. The girls met at dawn in the abandoned greenhouse behind the main castle wall, breath blooming silver in the chilled air. Jet leaned in. Lumi, whatever this is with the trolls, can we really call it love? Because it feels like I'm drowning in honey. Exactly, too sweet, too thick. Remember when we first met them? Gifts, letters, serenades under every window, Lumia recalled. Jet, half laughing, half panicked. I thought Roger carved my name into the moon. Lumia. Turns out it was chalk on a black velvet sheet. She kicked a cracked flower pot. Saw coughed out like dust from an old spell. Lumia lowered her voice. It's like I've been flooded with praise and attention to create a quick, addictive bond, but is it really love, as I thought it to be? Jet, addictive, yes, that's the feeling. That explains the butterflies that won't die even when he yells. Lumia. It feels like my mind is injected with a rainbow one moment and then the rainbow is set on fire. Then they pull away just long enough and then I'm craving that feeling again. Jet. Intermittent reinforcement. She heard the castle falconer use the phrase to train hawks. Reward, withhold, reward. Lumia nodded, eyes shimmering. Those gaps where Roger goes cold, or Dick ghosts me for a week, they're the hooks. Our brains are chasing the next sugar cube of affection. Jet traced the fissure in a pane of glass. So it's not love. It's like we've been put under a spell to keep us here. Lumia exhaled. Yes, the hamster wheel of doom. Jet, no wonder we feel insane. They alternately crown us and cut us down. Lumia, and we keep justifying it. They're stressed, must be hard growing up in Knobbingdom. But every apology is followed by a bigger spotlight, a bigger cage. She gestured to the greenhouse, fragile walls. No exit, but just one slim door. Silence settled like frost. Somewhere a troll's laugh reverberated against the glass. Jet, voice cracking. If it's not love, why does it feel so difficult to leave? Lumia. Because the bond lies. Our bodies think our survival depends on them. But there's a voice inside. We heard it when we sat at the breakfast table that says, run. Jet's eyes brightened, that little spark bellowing into a flame. Run to Becsland. Run with me, Lumia whispered, offering her pink-gloved hand. They stood amid broken glass and thawing soil. Two bruised princesses plotting rebellion. Jet, tomorrow night, we pack only what can't be replaced, and don't forget the fairy lights. Lumia, smiling ruefully, and leave the trolls to debate feelings with themselves. Outside, dawn finally coloured the clouds strawberry pink. Something inside them, older than spells, louder than fear, insisted they were flamingos, never pigeons. And flamingos, once aloft, do not returned to cages. Chapter 9. The Great Gaslight Summit, in which reasonable request detonates unreasonable egos. The very next morning, the princesses clung to the last glitter of hope and agreed before they ran to Becsland they would embark on a brave task. They would simply tell the trolls they were unhappy. After all, any truly loving prince or troll in borrowed princely shine should be heart-shattered at a beloved sorrow, shouldn't he? They rehearsed their honesty like lines in a play, convincing themselves that once the troll heard their hurt, they'd be stunned, remorseful, desperate to mend things, and everyone could skip straight to the happily ever after. Because surely the love hadn't all been a mirage. Surely they couldn't have imagined it. And so hand in hand they resolved to speak, certain that one good conversation would set everything gloriously right. Jet had rehearsed her line for hours, rolling the words around like throat lozenges of courage. After supper, lukewarm stew, extra condensation, she found the Troll King in the banqueting hall polishing his world's best provider tankard. "Your trollness," she began, voice steady but palms damp. "Sometimes the way you speak to us feels disrespectful. Could we talk about that so our love can be as bright as the sun?" Silence. Then, phoom! Twin jets of cartoon fire erupted from the king's ears. Ego injury detected. Launching ego rage protocol. "Disrespectful?" he thundered, the stone walls sweating fear. "After all I do, you dare accuse me?" Roger and Dick scuttled in, alerted by the scent of drama. They formed a huddle around their monarch, patting his shoulders like a pit crew. Darvo Playbook, page 1. Deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. "Let's review," sneered Roger, flipping an imaginary clipboard. "Who forgot to say thank you for yesterday's leftover pizza breakfast? And who still hasn't mastered the sacred art of silent breathing?" Dick added. Jet's stomach dipped. Lumia stepped forward, but the king raised a meaty hand. "Oh, look, sister solidarity, how hormonal." He prowled in a slow circle, every footstep a verdict. "You want polite, unpolite. Until you fix your endless flaws, your mess, your tone, your faces, you'll get the words you deserve." The trolls high-fived, congratulating one another on surviving this outrageous assault by two roof-over-their-head ingrates. Somewhere a lute string snapped from second-hand tension. Jet felt the room tilt. Lumia squeezed her hand. In Jet's ear she whispered, "Their script, not our truth." A shared breath. The spark between them glowed white-hot. The banqueting hall reeked of stale ale and fresh fear as the Troll King paced, nostrils flaring. His pupils glowed coin gold, power made visible. Roger and Dick circled like lesser sharks, feeding off the raw wake. Every sob from Lumia or Jet made their shoulders square wider, chests inflate bigger, egos throb harder. They weren't just winning, they were feasting. "Listen to them," Roger hissed, watching the princesses clutch each other, begging for hugs, for crumbs of approval. Pathetic. Dick's grin split wide. They used to sparkle. Now they puddle. How pitiful. The king inhaled the desperation, eyes half-lidded in bliss. "We have them precisely where we want them. Pliable, apologetic, begging for the dream chateau on the cul-de-sac," he winked, "with those ghastly TK Maxx lamps Lumia loved." "And the kennel for Jet's imaginary litter of spaniels," Roger snorted. "I promised her 100 puppies. Cost me nothing but syllables. They convened in hushed conspiracy, listing the princess's fatal flaws like an auction catalogue. 1. Too huggy. 2. Laughs too loud. 3. Greet strangers like they're old friends. 4. Smiles in the morning. Obnoxious. 5. Cries at adverts. Weak. 6. Asks follow-up questions. Nosy. 7. Has opinions on curtains. Exhausting. 8. Never remembers to keep phone at 100% charge. 9. Expects me to remember her birthday. So needy. 10. Breathes audibly when nervous. The worst. Yet the loudest crime, the king declared, swirling the dregs of his beer, is that they talk, endlessly, about themselves. I'd prefer it, he sneered, if they didn't start every sentence with I. It's embarrassing. Roger's eyes gleamed like greasy coins. So, we shut them up. Permanently. Dick clapped his hands and grinned, but with style. Without another word, the trolls scurried off to their secret lair behind the banqueting hall of bad banter. There, amid their trophy cabinet of items they'd withheld from previous girlfriends and half-empty lager bottles, Roger pulled out his spellbook, and together they concocted the eternally quietude elixir. Into a cauldron they tipped nightbloom honey, echo moss, and a single delicate mothwing. Roger stirred with a wand carved from an ex-girlfriend's hairbrush, while Dick sprinkled in the moonflower petals. When finally poured into crystal chalices, the potion shimmered with pewter and gold, swirling in hypnotic ribbons, prettier than any poisoned dream had the right to be. The Troll King leaned over the cauldron and sniffed. Perfect. Silence with just a hint of floral notes. Chapter 10. Project Perfect Princess, aka the Glow-Up Getaway Gambit. The princesses were summoned. Lumia's lips trembled. Jet's eyes were red-rimmed from tears and endless apologies. They spoke in thready unison. We just want everyone to be happy. We'll fix whatever's wrong with us. Promise. We just want to love you properly. Just tell us what to do. The chalices appeared, opalescent and deadly. The king's smile could have sliced bread. One sip, he soothed, and you'll never overshare again. In return, cars, cash, couture. Things neither girl had wished for, but generosity photographs well. Dummy proof of love materialised on Instagram moments later from the Troll King. At Supreme Provider, surprising my girls with matching convertibles because they deserve luxury. #blessed, #provider life. Comment hearts erupted, fuel for trollish vanity. Lumia and Jet exchanged a glance. The potion shimmered. Hope fizzed, and yet in Jet's pupil a candle glow flickered. Lumia saw it. A microscopic ember of nope. She cleared her throat, gaze downcast, voice syrup, submissive. Your Greatness, thank you for such an incredible offer. I'm just so weak, so hormonal, she added, a practiced wobble. May Jet and I go and nibble chocolate in a corner and remind ourselves how terrible we are, just one last time before we toast our future? The trolls beamed paternal pride. Of course, babe, the king cooed, already drafting the next #humility wins post. As the sisters retreated, he rolled his eyes. Women, he muttered, tutting like a metronome. Roger and Dick laughed, collecting likes on the convertible reveal. Behind a storage tapestry, the princesses exhaled. Lumia's whisper was super bright. Play crazy. That's what they think anyway. Study the exits. How can we get out of here? They'll never let us leave. Jet nodded. Why don't we acknowledge all of the terrible things they say about us and tell them we're going on a retreat to fix our issues? 1 week of self-improvement. And then we drive forward, not into the moat. Across the hall, another notification dinged. At Supreme Provider. Story. Step 1 to greatness? Know when to stay silent. Shh. The trolls thought the lesson landed. The chalices waited, shimmering. So did daylight. Next morning, at breakfast, Lumia and Jet glided in, wearing halos of faux humility and clutching a bullet journal titled Project Perfect Princess. Between spoonfuls of lukewarm porridge, they chirped, "We've taken on your brilliant advice, and we're taking a 1-week glow-up retreat and launching an Insta page called @TrollWifeGlowUp to document how we'll become the ultimate spouses for the kingdom's finest trolls." The Troll King folded his beefy arms and summoned a look of benevolent wisdom, like a guru who'd just discovered aromatherapy candles. Troll King beamed. Self-care sabbatical for us? Great idea, babe. Take all the time you need to upgrade yourselves. Here, use our premier carriage. He swept open the gates to reveal a mustard yellow hatchback whose tyres were bolder than his self-awareness. Focus and find that brain of yours. Jot down everything that's wrong with you, then hustle back. In a week or 2, you'll realise nobody understands your complexities quite like we do, and how lucky you are we let you be with us. Roger applauded as if announcing recess. Mental health vacation for them, boys night blow-up for us. Win-win. He flourished a greasy napkin labelled Lads Thrive-a-thon, featuring such growth-promoting events as keg stand jousting, no helmets, builds character. Turbo mansplainathon, school board, word count, fees actual knowledge. The Princess Diaries, rate imaginary replacements on how much your ego will be inflated when the kingdom sees her on your arm, waist size and emoji usage. Epic fart chorus, final round synced to the national anthem. Dick pumped a fist. Finally, some space to let our greatness breathe. And hey, if those two don't hurry back, there's a queue of princesses begging for premium troll real estate. Troll King, exactly. We're compassionate like that. Supportive kings offering growth opportunities. Roger, they'll thank us once they've journaled their flaws. Dick, right after we perfect the banana skin bin toss. The trio cackled at their calendar of toddler-esque triumphs, utterly convinced of their magnanimity. Meanwhile, Lumia and Jet exchanged meek nods, clutching the rattling keys, outwardly grateful, inwardly plotting a one-way drive toward freedom. And when you change your mind, these magical bubbles will be on ice for you, sweethearts, and then all your dreams can come true, just what you wanted. Roger leaned in, stayed whispering, "Bet they stall before the moat." Dick snorted, "Bet they reverse into the moat." The trio howled, already basking in the afterglow of imminent abandonment. Jet accepted the keys with a curtsy so regal it bordered on sarcasm. "Thank you, your trollness. We'll be out of your hair. Have the best time without us." Next stop, sabotage on wheels, self-worth in the glove box.